So, hi, welcome to Javens Media. Today, let's talk about leadership. So, why do I chose leadership? One, merely because I'm also a leader. I've been a leader for almost 6 years now. Been happy since day one. This is the second company that I am, hired as a leader. It's, the first 4 years is a learning curve. Everything that I learned from it, I will be sharing. It's a really complex job position, but at the end of the day, it's rewarding because you're handling people. You were able to guide people. You were able to coach people, but at the same time, it's also that difficult because you're handling not just the processes. You're also gonna be handling characteristics, behavior, attitude, and a lot more. So that's how complicated somehow the leadership post is. Not just the entry-level leadership, but also the higher-level leadership as well. So, that being said, since it's a really broad, complex conversation about leadership, let's start with the tasks. For today, let's talk about tasks. Because for me, tasks that leaders give to their subordinates is a double-edged sword. Why? Because it could be healthy for the people and it could not be healthy. So let's start with the unhealthy part. So in terms of the unhealthy part of delegation of tasks, so it is unhealthy if we will just walk throughout with the three parts. This could be in the healthy parts as well. So the unhealthy would be if the task that your delegation doesn't have purpose, if the delegation of tasks that you're given to your people doesn't have, or you weren't able to communicate it well, and it doesn't promote work-life balance. Mainly because, let's start with communication. So in terms of communication, if you weren't able to communicate it well with your people, they won't be able to finish it well. You can't, as a leader, you know how to manage your job. You should be able to know how to manage the job of your people as well. Our target in terms of delegation of tasks is one, prevent our people from having the robotic processes day in, day out, every day in the company. Always remember this, even as leaders goes into that part of our job wherein it's becoming robotic, meaning at day end, you just do everything that you could do, you log out, you wake up in the morning, it's the same thing. That's robotic, right? It's just the same system that you're doing. Now, the delegation of tasks, if you weren't able to communicate it well, they won't be able to finish it well. 2. Okay? So, it's our job to communicate well, give pointers, meaning, since us leaders know the process, we should be giving out advices for them to do the job easier. Okay, that's our job as leaders. Reports or minutes of the meeting, those are the things that we could teach to our people. And we shouldn't be looking up into just letters, grammar, or spaces that they missed out. What we should be looking at is the important points that our people could learn in the future. Meaning, how they deliver the minutes of for example, the minutes of the meeting, how they were able to deliver the minutes of the meeting, how they were able to look out at important points that should be in the minutes of the meeting. Instead of just focusing on grammar, spaces, or subject, make sure you focus on how the minutes of the meeting is being delivered. It goes to show also in terms of bigger matters. It goes to show how broad thinker a leader is if you were able to see more than just the basic stuff. right? Those are big leaders mentoring style. So it is unhealthy if we're just focusing on just little things. That's why it is also important to communicate better, for us to give important points, techniques to them, just so when they are mentoring their future subordinates, they would be teaching the techniques that they learn from what you taught to them, and it would be easier for the next generation as being taught with that kind of leadership, right? So that's mentorship. Now, that's how it will be healthy. But in terms of unhealthy, in terms of communication, when you critique your people just because of small stuff, you didn't teach them well, and then you criticize them for the thing that you weren't able to teach them, which is your job in the first place, right? That is wrong leadership. Big X. Pudge. So anyways, communication. That's how important communication in terms of mentorship. Delegation of tasks. Okay? So that's one. Number two, purpose. Purpose is really important because our subordinates have their own goals, have their own, purpose in life. If you're gonna delegate tasks, make sure that it is in line with their purpose, with their goal. One, it's easier for them to digest. It's easier for them to do it. It becomes unhealthy if you just keep on pushing your own purpose to them. And if they don't know what your purpose is, it's much more uneasy for them to digest the things that you're pushing them to do. If you're not well communicating it and then you're not giving out the purpose, don't get frustrated for your people because it's your fault. Okay? Leaders should always know when they're managing well. Leaders should always know when they're doing their job well. And sometimes, unfortunately, there are people who gets promoted without them knowing what is the right thing to do. That's life. But as they say, life is unfair, right? So, us subordinates sometimes has to communicate it well with our leaders. We have to have that kind of attitude of asking questions for our purpose to be clear. Always learn how to communicate well with your leaders. At the same time, leaders learn how to communicate well with your people in terms of the purpose, why we wanted them, or why we delegate this task to them. Okay? And also, so for the subordinates, always ask, what is the purpose this delegation is being given to me? In order for me to learn as well. Right? So that's second. Lastly, and the most important in anything about delegation or even at work, work-life balance. It's okay to give out task delegation because us managers should always know why we're delegating, right? What's the purpose and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, always remember this. Their task, their main job description, or the main things that they're doing should be their priority. Our delegation should be second. Okay? Now, in those parts, if it is over their time, for example, the employee's time or your subordinate's time in the office is the same as you, 8:30 to 5:30. If you know that they're working overtime or in the weekends or holidays, or they're taking their leaves just to finish your delegation, you are wrong as a leader. Because at first, you should be the one who's doing this, right? Us leaders should be having our own responsibilities. We delegate tasks for them to learn, not for them to have overworking times. There are other companies who doesn't have overtime pay. There are other companies who's not having any rewards in terms of tasks that are given out of their ordinaries. So us leaders should know when that is manageable for them to do at the end of the day, because again, work-life balance, that is what we should be promoting to our people. Because if work-life balance is well implemented to our people, they would be happy doing the job that you're delegating to them. They would be growing a lot, learning a lot from the delegation that we're doing or giving out to them. And so, why am I advising this? Again, I learned a lot from my previous leadership role. I'm not a good manager, or I'm not a good leader before. The purpose in terms of the delegation that I was able to give was there, but communication part, not that much. I tend to let them do the job, or let them have their own personality in the job. That at times there are things that is already uncontrollable because I wasn't able to manage it well. And at the end of the day, I wasn't able to promote work-life balance to them. That's why they somehow retaliated to me. Not just to me, but also to their job. But at the end of the day, they learn a lot, and I'm happy for it. I'm really proud of how they turned out, because they are really good people. They're really good employees. They're really skillful employees. That's why when they got angry with me, it's fine, because it's my fault. And again, leaders, at the end of the day, it's our responsibility. Whatever our people are feeling in the job, it should be us who should be the first ones to know. It should be us who should be first ones to manage it. Because again, one of the three parts of it is communication. Right? So, that's it. In terms of delegation of tasks, I know I wasn't able to tackle the good part of delegation of tasks, maybe on our next content. But for now, always remember, it's almost the same. It's also the three, but always remember, leaders, communication. Communicate with your people. Promote work-life balance. Communicate with your people. Have that purpose why we are delegating tasks. And lastly, work-life balance. If those three are met in terms of what we're delegating, our people would, one, easily get promoted because they know what they're doing. It's easier for them to do it because we taught them the right techniques for them to finish it well. And then lastly, they know work-life balance is. And if they know what work-life balance is, those three will be implemented to the next generation, and those next generation will be much better because they're being taught with techniques, better learnings. So, that's how important leadership is. We'll talk about that leadership a lot more in the future, but always remember, again, your job is important. That's why it's also important for you to learn something from your job and share it better to others, just so they could do better as well in their job in the future. Thank you. As one of my idols in the YouTube industry or the content industry, Doc Chris, sharing is caring. Always share what you have, just so it could be better in the future. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening up until this moment. I won't be taking much of your time. If I was able to connect with you in terms of leadership, just kindly leave a like and a comment if I need to improve something or new things for our content to be exciting. And then also, it would be a big help if you're gonna subscribe to the channel so that I would be, eager to do much better contents in the future. Thank you very much, and welcome to Javens Media.